He has those moments that no other politician has. And the Democrats have to find that guy.
They need a message, and then you find you find the messenger. No, but
got to give it up. Like when he did that thing where the guy came in from the Taliban and he said, this is an aerial picture of your house. If during our withdrawal, one American is hurt, just know I know where you live. I was like, oh, can we just play the music now? Because I don't care. It's Donald Trump and he's the worst person ever, blah, blah, blah. I fucking love that.
Indeed, you are a leader of the world. Thank you. Indeed, God sent you this time. Thank you. Thank you for hearing the crowd, the ordinary people in Iran. Thank you. President Trump, you have no idea how grateful we are as people of the world.
Yes, there are some times when I watch B, I feel different. Like, I see him coming, though I understand that the guy will never change his position. I watched this video to a certain length. I was like, he actually put out what a lot of Democrats can acknowledge about Trump. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen this video. This guy shared this video on X, and I was impressed. I'm going to show you the complete video, but before I do that, this lady had this to say concerning what Trump is doing in Iran. She's talking out of experience, what she felt. A lot of people criticize the president for taking up that decision, but this lady is not seeing it.
Republicans love Donald Trump more than any president's own party supporters loved him at this particular point. Just take a look here. Okay, own party supporters, 21st century presidents, own party approval, about at this point in the second term. Bush was at 77%. Obama was at 77%. Look at this. 86% of Republicans approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing at this point. That is higher than either Obama or Bush had within their own party at this point. Trump's magic touch has not seemed to wear off yet when it comes to the Republican base.
And what kind of approval are we talking about here?
Okay, so we're talking about overall approval here. How about the strongly approved, not just like, but love. Okay, we're going to look at these same presidents again. Strong approval among your own party's base. What you see here is Trump is the only one who gets a majority at this point in their presidency. Obama was at 48%. Bush was at 47%. You see here Trump at 53%. Not as high as overall approval rating, but still getting a majority of the Republican base, at least in the average of polls, to say that they still really like him.
Okay.
For these families, given what Secretary Hegseth said this morning, is it the position of this administration that the press should not prominently cover this of U.S. service members?
No, it's the position of this administration that the press in this room and the press across the country should accurately report on the success of Operation Epic Fury and the damage it is doing to the rogue Iranian regime that has threatened the lives of every single American in this room. If the Iranian regime had their choice, single person in this room. And so we can all be very grateful that we have an administration and that we have men and women in our armed forces who are willing to sacrifice their own lives for the rest of us in this room and for every American across the country and for every troop that is based in the Middle East. That's what these...
Secretary Hegseth was complaining that it was front page news about these 6 service members who were...
That's not what the Secretary said, Caitlin, and that's not what the Secretary meant, and you know it. You know you are being disingenuous. There is not... We've never had a Secretary of Defense who cares more...
Get through where tragic things happen. It's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad.
Yeah,
as you know, we cover the deaths of U.S. service members under every president.
The press does only want to make the president look bad. That's a fact. Especially you. No, listen to me. Especially you and especially CNN. And the Secretary of Defense cares deeply about our war fighters and our men and women in uniform. He travels all across this country to meet with them, to connect with them, and your network has hardly ever probably reported on that. You also had the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Chairman Kane, who's a brave patriot, standing alongside the secretary at the Pentagon this morning, again expressing his condolences to these families. And I just told you that the President of the United States will be attending their dignified transfer. So please,
that's not making the president look bad. That's showcasing that.
We expect you to cover that as you should. We expect you to cover that as you should, Caitlin. But you and your network know that you take every single thing this administration says and tries to use it to make the president look bad. That is an objectable fact.
I don't think covering troop deaths is trying to make
if you're trying to argue right now that CNN's overwhelming coverage is not negative of President Donald Trump, I think the American people would tend to agree, and your ratings would tend to disagree with that as well.
If you watch my previous videos, you'll realize this part was there where I mentioned about this Kathleen calling. She is fond of that, always struggling to bring some kind of question that will portray the president in a different light. If you notice recently, CNN is struggling to change their coverage because the owners of CNN is gradually changing. They are scared of their position. But at this rate, this lady always, she wants to make like she is too perfect. I understand the situation is like this. Why is it that other reporters don't always do this? Yes, I believe you've seen this clip. CNN is actually putting this out, I'm sure. At some point, they usually hide this kind of information.
There's a couple of times when, look, I've been his biggest critic for good reason. And when he got reelected, I said, I'm not going to pre-hate anything. And then the first week I said, well, there's lots of things I hate because I do. Okay, there's some things I don't hate also, but the way he can do that and sometimes kind of make me go, oh man, I got to give it up. Like when he did that thing where the guy came in from the Taliban and he said, this is an aerial picture of your house. If during our withdrawal, one American is hurt, just know I know where you live. I was like, oh, can we just play the music now? Because I don't care. It's Donald Trump and he's the worst person ever, blah, blah, blah. I love that. Mm-hmm. One time they were doing something was going on with, and he said, you know what? When you come after New York, you got to go through me. It's like, oh, hometown boy. You know, he has those moments that no other politician has. And the Democrats have to find that guy.
They need a message, and then you find you find the messenger. No, but that's how it worked for Trump.
That's the worst thing. The Democrats always say, message, hear a message. Yeah, first of all, they did, and they don't like it. Second of all, they don't give. It's not about the message. Trump changes his message from day to day.
You can't argue with B on this one, right? This is clearly who Trump is. So when I see people saying, oh, this, that, this is just exactly Trump. And this guy understands that. He can't hide his feelings toward what Trump is doing. And I'm impressed with that.
If somebody come at me with a mask on, run and talk about, hey, and didn't show me they were...
This is the party of masks. You guys force masks on everybody in the United States. I don't want to hear you can't see my face, and, I just can't. I can't. I love you, but I can't. I love you, but I can't.
I know that you can't, but I think... I was going to say, that's a whole different thing. I'm talking about people walking down the street with their kids on the way to school, getting rubbed over, not rubbed over.
That is someone's expressions under this comment section. That should tell you something. I just wanted to put out this video so you can see what is going on.
Incredible to me that we are, 4-5 days into this now, and there still hasn't been a formal address to the nation by the President of the United States.
Okay, so let me get this straight. When Trump bombs Iran without congressional approval, that is an impeachable offense. But when Biden did it to multiple Middle Eastern countries, that was fine.
I'm a military spouse, and yesterday my post went viral.
A clip that we ran before saying who those troops died for. How dare you, Megyn Kelly? How dare you tell a military person who has sacrificed their lives for our nation?
What I can say is that Donald Trump is a real Gemini.
Yes, I love you. I don't judge you. I want you to know how deep my hatred for you runs right now if you voted for this. So my recent video talking about Iran and what's going on as the wife of an active duty service member has gone viral on the MAGA site that I've gotten from.
I want to appreciate people supporting, sharing out the videos. As of the short clips you see at the end, that is for the white algorithm. You can always share the videos for people asking me, why do you push short clips? That is for the white algorithm. They hardly recommend videos on this channel.
For every single American who voted for President Trump. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Democrats might cry, oh boo-hoo, why are you doing it?
First of all, the president has consistently, over the course of his entire public life, said he will never permit the Iranian regime to have a nuclear...
We got here just moments after initial...
Well, apparently, in this document...
Our chamber is chanting USA. This is a sick person from the first lady.
I was there, and
it's where you're seeing awards being presented.
They're just so disgusting.
Of course, he chose ruled against.
All right, these little drama queens. Here's the video. He shook everyone's hand. Everyone. There's the Chief Justice. To the point where they had to come back on the air and say this in Stop 33.
But we should point out as he walks, and he's pretty close to the justices again as he comes down on the floor, that he did shake their hands there.
They thought they had such a juicy moment.
And to press this country to the border. I stuck in the border. Go Trump!
For the slain passenger in North, our first priority is Americans rather than illegal.
Can take away from the joyous moment as all Americans. And why are they putting a medal?
Oh, he's already under scrutiny for 1,000 reasons. Viral Patel posted this on X.
People on the left are absolutely losing their minds.
Because now it's our job.
I get suspicious.
Scrutiny. I think that Whoopi Goldberg, you might want to think.
Isn't their whole testimony?
Don't use it as a platform.
Person's home.
In such emotional turmoil.
And Republicans on both sides, you're...